Dozens of New Yorkers have entered their 11th day of camping outside the gates of City Hall to protest the layoffs of thousands of public sector employees and sweeping cutbacks to social services. Organized by the group of New Yorkers Against Budget Cuts, the coalition of students, teachers, and union members have dubbed the encampment Bloombergville, named after Mayor Michael Bloomberg. It is the longest-running protest encampment in the city in years. Protesters are demanding the budget deficit be closed by increasing taxes on the wealthy. This is Queens resident Raymond Burke Jr.
The budget cuts are going to affect everybody. When they shut down a firehouse and then your house catches fire or your business catches fire and the fire department is too late to respond, then you're going to understand. When they shut down your kid's school, then you're going to understand. Hey, you!
Topping the list of the protesters' concerns is the proposed 6,100 teacher layoffs and the $500 million cut from the education budget. Sam Coleman is a New York public school teacher.
I teach in a low-income neighborhood, mostly immigrants, and my school is going to lose funding that's going to eliminate after-school programs, going to eliminate art programs, going to eliminate materials that we badly need, as well as teachers getting accessed or laid off.
Activists say they draw inspiration from the rolling rebellions in the Arab world, Greece, and the recently dismantled Walkerville in Madison, Wisconsin. Organizer Emily Toronis recently returned from studying in Spain, where residents also erected a tent city to protest austerity measures.
I personally had been at the Puerta del Sol in Madrid in their tent city experience, and as soon as I got back to the States, I was involved in planning for Bloombergville, which was very serendipitous. It's obviously been a very different experience than what's going on in Madrid. Namely, the police force has been very different here. We often have more police officers than protesters.
Heavy rains and police pressure has forced the camp to relocate 6 times. There's also been one arrest. Last Thursday, a 17-year-old high school graduate was arrested and charged with obstructing pedestrian traffic. He asked not to be named.
It was just part of a plan by the cops to intimidate us, to demoralize us by taking, one of the youngest people there and arresting them. But in fact, that didn't work. From what I understand, and when I got back, I got a huge round of applause. And when I was gone, everyone was saying that everyone was energized, everyone was trying to get me free, everyone was excited to have me come back as soon as possible and continue the struggle.
Despite the challenges, the camp continues to attract new participants every day. Hundreds have taken part, mostly in rotating shifts. The number of overnight campers has fallen from more than 100 that slept out the first night to about 3 dozen. New Yorker Gary Rowland says the public's gratitude has made living outside worth it.
The best part about this whole thing is the response we get from people walking back. 9 times out of 10, they're very supportive of what we're doing, and they're glad that somebody's finally standing up for the interests of the common people rather than just the billionaires.
The camp sits on the bustling downtown Manhattan intersection of Broadway and Park Place. The majority of passers-by appear indifferent, but many do stop to express their support, including New Yorkers Hillary Moore, John Randall, and Rhonda Vargas.
Hopefully people are listening to some of these things that are being said in signs, and I think anybody that stands up in the city is doing a good thing. I think it's hard to stand up in the city. It's such an arterial place, and people walk by you and don't pay attention to you. And
like it says here, Bloomberg's cuts are going to affect 6,100 teachers. $50 million in cuts just for childcare. I mean, I think education is one of the most important things in order for us to have less crime, better economical system, less poverty, senior services and all different types of stuff, libraries.
It's uplifting to know that they are, to know that they're out there fighting for all of us. It's like a few are fighting for so many, and it's wonderful.
City council members and union leadership are currently deadlocked with the mayor in negotiations over the budget, ahead of a June 30th deadline. Bloombergville's participants hope their actions push their representatives to take a strong stand against the cuts, in the same way that Wisconsin's student and rank-and-file teacher protests compelled much of that state's political and union leadership to take part in a massive uprising against Governor Scott Walker's anti-union bill earlier this year. Bloombergville organizer Yotan Marin says the support of New York's powerful unions has been limited to symbolic gestures, such as providing food to hungry campers.
They're in a different position than us. They want to be at the negotiating table, and we don't expect to be at the negotiating table, and we're like the part of the movement that's going to push harder and more radically and intensify the struggle. I wish that they were here with us because I think that would make the critical mass. I think if they were all here with us, then it would make it unnecessary to have to cut deals.
The camp's main political supporter has been Democratic Council member Charles Barron of East New York. Echoing protesters, Barron says cuts to public services can be averted by raising taxes on wealthy New Yorkers.
We can balance this budget overnight. The bottom line, in every state of the union where there's been a deficit, the tax breaks to the rich, the subsidies to the rich corporations are greater than the deficit. So if they want to cut something, cut tax breaks, cut subsidies, not services and layoffs.
Most of those camped out readily admit they alone cannot block the harsh austerity measures. But 17-year-old New Yorker Lucas Vasquez says he hopes Bloombergville will be a catalyst for a movement that can influence change.
I mean, this is a long-term movement, and all long-term movements have to start somewhere, and this is pretty radical action in the typical left actions of New York City. I mean, we're actually occupying and sleeping in. That doesn't really happen in New York City, and hopefully it'll grow.
Activists say they will remain at Bloombergville through the budget vote.